Hello, my friends. This is Ellis Paul. I'm here in Crozet, Virginia. So nice of you to join me tonight. We tonight are going to be talking about this guy. This is Gordon Lightfoot. He's one of the guys on the Canadian Mount Rushmore, along with Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, and Neil Young, in my mind. Anyway, probably yours too. We lost him this week, and it just kills me. He's like a redwood falling in the forest, you know. Loved him, and I'm going to play some of his songs tonight. I just decided to do this afternoon, by the way, so I'm totally not well rehearsed in his music, but I don't feel like I can play his actual, recordings on Facebook without getting some kind of copyright infringement thing on Facebook. So I'm going to play them, talk about them. Hopefully you'll talk about him as well. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to play a song from a new album. Which one shall it be? In the background here. Let's do Golden California. Here we go. Hope you guys enjoy this. This is from my new album. It's coming out June 9th. Grab a glass of wine, maybe some tissues. It's going to be hard and fun at the same time to talk about him. And yeah, we'll see you in about 5 minutes. We'll start up. Got friends from all over the country tuning in. You're welcome, Bill. Jackie is here from Pittsburgh. Jeannie is from Whitman, Mass. Nice to see you here. This is how I make my living. Just find that tip jar if you feel inclined. And if you don't, that's fine as well. Leominster, Massachusetts. Scarlet Live say thank you so much again for being here. Rich. And Jackie throwing that out. Let's get that out of the way. Right? Jim Russell is here. Eric Waterman up in Maine. Kelly Dale in Winnipeg, Canada. Nice to have you here, Kelly. Thank you. So much. You're welcome, Liz, Dana. It's like God's own painting. I'll be there waiting for you. Hey, take a gently dirt road, wagon wheel, westbound train. Let's get away for you. Come see the gold. We're going to start in just a minute, folks. Please share this on your Facebook feed. I think it's going to be a very reflective, fun night. Very funny. Well, folks, I guess it's that time of night. Let's get this show rolling. Please share it on your sites if you if you think people are interested. Here you go. Hello, my friends. You're listening to Ellis Paul's Traveling Medicine Show. I'm here in Crozet, Virginia, where I live. This is my recording studio, video studio. All the things that I do creatively pretty much are born here, and then they move out to the highway, to clubs and theaters and house concerts all over the U.S. and Canada and Europe. I'm going to Europe this fall, folks. I hope those of you that might hear this out there will come see me in Great Britain. Tonight, we're just celebrating and talking about the music of Gordon Lightfoot, the life of Gordon Lightfoot, and I've spent a few hours just sort of gathering information and downloading lyrics so I can read them off the page. Again, I'm not well rehearsed for this. I just decided I was going to do this around 2 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, just do it. Some of you may know this. I write when folks pass away, like Gordon did this week. I usually write really thoughtful. I take my time and spend a few hours coming up with obituaries that I post on Facebook, and they tend to get tens of thousands of hits. But this one was almost too much. I thought the only way to really pay tribute would be to sit down and talk to you about my love for him and why he's so important to my music and his impact on all of us, all of the folks that are of my age group as songwriters, and how important his music influenced ours, and the importance of his music on ours. So we're going to be doing that tonight. I created a little bit of a poster for this. Let's see. There it is, Ellis Paul's Traveling Medicine Show. Tonight's show will focus on Gordon Lightfoot and his music. I did meet Gordon Lightfoot a few years ago, I don't know when it was, 2018 maybe? No, 2019. And I was playing the Mariposa Folk Festival in Canada, and Steve Poltz and I were watching Gordon do a tweener. A tweener is someone comes up in between the main acts on stage and just does a couple songs. And Gordon, who had been sick for a while, was one of the tweeners. And of course the crowd went nuts, and Steve and I were like, our eyes are like saucers watching him on stage. And I briefly got to meet him after that, and I could barely speak, so it wasn't much of a meeting, but it was the coolest thing that ever happened to me at the same time. So let's start with a song. Why don't we do that? I'm looking down these. Let's do this one. I'm going to talk to you right from the get-go here about Sundown. Sundown was Gordon's highest charting song. It went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. He had a bunch of number ones in Canada. He was nominated for a Grammy 5 times, but never won, and he won 17 Junos, which is the Canadian version of the Grammy. So he had a lot of success in his home country, and as I said earlier, he's part of the Mount Rushmore of Canadian singer-songwriters, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Leonard Cohen, and Gordo. So let's try this. I'll do it here. Before I get into it, Sundown was inspired by his relationship with Kathy Smith. was a tough relationship for him, and that's one reason why you can hear it in the lyric, hard-loving woman. Kathy was best known for, she is the person that injected John Belushi on the night that he died with an 8-ball. So she was a hard-traveling, beautiful woman. She sang background in his band, but she was trouble. I can see her lying back in her satin dress, in a room where you do what you don't confess. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. She's been looking like a queen in a sailor's dream, and she don't always say what she really means. Sometimes I think it's a sin. Sometimes, where am I? Sorry folks, I gotta scroll as I go here. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better, when I'm feeling no pain. I can picture every move that a man can make. Getting lost in your loving is your first mistake. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning, when I'm losing again. I can see her looking fast in her faded jeans. She's a hard-loving woman, got me feeling mean. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better, when I'm feeling the burn. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning, when I'm losing again. That is Sundown, my friends. I love the second guitars on these songs. Sundown was probably played by Terry Clements, I believe so. He ended up taking over the second guitar parts from Red Shea, who wanted to get off the road in 1970. But if you listen to the guitar playing by both Red Shea and Terry Clements, you will be amazed at how beautiful they are. Today I was driving around and I stopped my car, and it's my daughter chiming in. I stopped my car and I set up the speaker system so it was only playing out of the right side of the speakers, because I wanted to hear what the guitars were doing. And stereo recordings in that era, they panned the guitars wide, and if you if you're really panning them far to the right and completely turning off the left, you'll only hear George Harrison and Ringo over here, you know? And that's what I did with Gordon Lightfoot, to hear the parts that Red Shea was playing and Terry Clements. And they're just absolutely brilliant. Terry Clements played on this recording. What is your favorite Gordon Lightfoot song? Let me know. I'd like to hear in the stream. I'll put it up on the screen. We got folks from all over the world here tonight. Amy Hoffman is tuning in from Vermont. Beverly is over there in Kent, Washington. Allison Fegley is in Nashville watching in. Scarlett says, I consider myself lucky to have seen Gordon Lightfoot in concert some years back. Paul Wiltberger is somewhere, probably Indiana, and Barbara Emerson is singing along. Stacy Rico is here from Maine. Thank you, Stacy, and good day from Australia. Thank you, brother, for tuning in. our sister. Jennifer Thomas is here, and Early Morning Rain is her favorite. That's one that Red Shea played on, and that's the one I was really listening to today, because he would do these beautiful lines, and then he'd break into double time. There's no drums on the recording, so the secondary guitar drives the whole song, like tempo-wise and feel-wise. And he does a beautiful job. If you get a chance in your car when you're listening to Gordo, do what I did. Just swing your speakers so all of the music comes off the right side, and you'll hear what the guitar playing is, how it's happening and unfolding, and you'll be totally amazed. Here's another one for If You Could Read My Mind song for A Winter's Night, Canadian Railroad Trilogy, which is one of his most famous songs up in Canada. He was actually paid by the government to write songs about Canadian life on the trains, and Nancy says that her favorite is Fitzgerald. The Edmund Fitzgerald was named after a guy named Edmund Fitzgerald. Surprise, surprise. He was a businessman that helped to bring the Milwaukee Brewers to Wisconsin, and had a boat named after him as a gift, I guess. Sundown and Carefree Highway, Stacey Rico's favorite song. Joan Ackerman says, If You Can Read My Mind, love. I feel like, honestly, that If You Can Read My Mind is one of absolutely the best songs ever written and recorded, in my mind. The arrangement's beautiful. The lyrics are perfect. The melody is perfect. I nearly cry every time I hear it. The string arrangement's amazing. Red Shea's guitar player, playing on it is just absolutely crazy good. We got Craig in Kentucky and Joe here on 8th Avenue in New York. Nice to see you here, brother. Dan Brennan from Chicago tuning in. Marnie, Santa Barbara, David in Connecticut. We got folks from all over the country tuning in because they love this as much as I do. I want to thank Bill and Nancy and James. Thank you, all of you folks, for contributing to the tip jar and what I do here on these Wednesday night shows. Let's move on, man. Amy Hoffman says Pony Man. I'm not sure I know that one. Jerry Thomas says, mine has got to be the beautiful combination of lyrics and orchestration. If you could, why don't I do If You Could Read My Mind? I've taken some notes on that one as well. It was inspired by his divorce, his first divorce, by the way. It was produced by Lenny Waronker, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, and Joe Wissert. The strings that are so amazing on it were arranged by Nick DeCavo, and it was recorded in LA at SunWest Recording Studios. It was on the album in 1970 called Sit Down Stranger, which wasn't really selling that well until the song broke. So the recording company was smart enough, the record label, to change the name of the record and reissue it as If You Could Read My Mind. And then it became a huge hit. This is something that is kind of interesting. I'm going to go there where we are. Here we go. There it is. I read this, and it was just an interesting little tidbit about this song. Gordon sued a songwriter, Michael Masser, who wrote Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All, because he stole the B section of If You Could Read My Mind. It's the part that goes, let me see if I can get it over here. And you won't read that book again because the ending's just too hard to take. And that same part, that melody, is, I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. That's the Whitney Houston song. So he ended up settling out of court. He didn't want a big to-do about it because Whitney Houston, he didn't want it to affect her at all. And At least that's what he said in public. And then Michael Masser ended up apologizing to Gordon in the press as part of the deal. There's a big issue in courts right now with an Ed Sheeran song and a Marvin Gaye song, and it's a very different situation. This was definitely basically stealing. And one of the things about Gordon Lightfoot's melodies is they lift and drive. He has this legato phrasing followed by syncopation, then a legato phrasing followed by syncopation. And that's a perfect example of like 24 bars where he does it. Da, 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 da. Just absolutely, mesmerizing. And Michael Masser essentially lifted it. Let's do this one on guitar. Again, folks, I'm going to be scrolling, and I apologize if I don't do this cleanly, and I didn't play this more than a couple times today. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost in a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong with chains upon my feet. You know the ghost is me. I will never be set free as long as I'm a ghost that you can't see. If I could read your mind, love, what a tale your thoughts could tell. Just like a paperback novel, the kind that drugstores sell. When you reach the part where the heartaches come, the hero would be me, but heroes often fail. And you won't read that book again because the ending's just too hard to take. I'd walk away like a movie star that gets burned in a three-way spread. Enter number 2. A movie queen, the play, the scene, bringing all the good things out in me. But for now, love, let's be real. I never thought I could act this way, and I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong with chains upon my feet. But the stories always end. Could read between the lines, you know that I'm just trying to understand the feelings that you lack. I never thought I could feel this way, but I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. Joe, I want to thank you for the love and the tip jar there. That song, I mean, there's just no way to do it justice. And everyone from Barbra Streisand to Johnny Cash has covered it. There's even a disco version of the song that was charting, not so much in the U.S., but did have a run up the charts. It's by Stars on 54. You got to give it a listen. It's actually weirdly charming. It's like even though they're applying all this disco stuff to it and weird drum loops and there are three women singing it, taking turns on the verses. It's almost like it's so good that they just can't fuck it up. That's the very weird thing about it. I think that is probably my favorite song of his, and yeah, hard not to love it. It's kind of a toss-up between that and the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is, both of these songs are, this one is so vulnerable and so male at the same time. It's not like it's Art Garfunkel singing it, in sort of a high sensitive voice. It's just this wounded baritone voice that sounds like it chops wood and goes out on a canoe and fishes. That's the beauty of his vulnerability, is that it's just so masculine compared to what we normally get from men with those kind of voices. We get sexual songs from people with those kind of voices, especially males. We usually, James Taylor comes to mind, and Neil Young, when he's really bringing his A game, comes to mind. Those are the kind of voices I'd expect to sing that kind of heartache. So I don't know. He's just got his voice. It might feel a little dated to some ears that aren't used to that warble, but he came out of this folk tradition in the 60s and probably in the 50s when he was growing up, listening to people like this. By the way, I just want to show you this because I picked this up today. U.S. postage stamps, folks. Pete Seeger, U.S. postage stamps. I love that. Another hero. Maybe we'll do more of these kind of tribute shows, because I don't know, I just love talking about people's music that I love. And there's some great lines in this. We'll just take another look at the lyrics. There's some lines that just absolutely kill me. I mean, so many. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell, just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well. And then on the second verse, he switches it. So it's, if I could read your mind, love, what a tale your thoughts could tell, just like a paperback novel, the kind that drugstores sell. When you reach the part where the heartaches come, the hero would be me. But heroes often fail. It's so heartbreaking. And you won't read that book again because the ending's just too hard to take. I don't know of anybody that is better than that. There's people that are in that category, that Joni Mitchell comes to mind. Yeah. Just casting my eyes down the lyrics here. By the way, his daughter asked him to change a lyric. I'll see if I can find it. You know that I'm just trying to understand the feelings that you lack. You lack. And his daughter suggested he change it to the feelings that we lack. And he did. This is one thing I love about him from a songwriting perspective, is that after the song was recorded, after it goes to number one and kills it on the charts, he'll change a lyric if he thinks it needs to be more, if it's improved by the fact that he's changing it. Even in the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which has some historical things wrong that he took liberties on, somebody said that the church where the aftermath funeral for all these people that died on the on the ship was held. He calls it a musty maritime cathedral. And somebody said, that church isn't musty. And so he calls it, he changed the words to rustic. And then live in concert, he would sing it in the corrected way. And I do that as well. There's plenty of songs where I change the lyrics after the fact. You guys probably know some of those if you're a fan of mine. So there it is. Kyle, look at that. You guys, I'm already talking to the converted here. Don and Jean are in Norwood, Massachusetts. I'm playing up in Massachusetts this week. Seth Gleer told me yesterday that Read My Mind is the perfect song. I thought tonight about calling people up and just seeing if they'd stop by, but again, I thought about what I wanted to play tonight, and then it hit me I should just do a Gordo all night kind of show, and I didn't want to put anyone on the spot. So in the future, if I do these shows, I know that they work, so I will make sure that I bring in special guests instead of just me. But listen, I can go on and on about them, and I kind of want to do it. I got this album here, Gordon Lightfoot, Gord's Gold. It's the vinyl version. And I think Red Shea is in here. Let's see. Yeah. Red Shea and Terry Clements are the top two pictures on this album, so you can see the second guitar player. Like Terry Clements plays the crazy electric guitar and slide on the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and he's reacting to the lyrics and creating waves with the slide to give the listener sort of a sonic visual of what it's like to be on the ship, which is just amazing players. Very, very smart. For the first 5 years of his career, Gordon played alone, and then he started to form a trio with Red Shea on guitar and a bass player whose name it might have been John Stockfish or Keynes, traveling with him in the 60s. I want to read you guys a little bit of this here. Playing in bars, this is I'm just reading the liner notes here. Playing in bars had its advantages. You could try out all kinds of new things and make all kinds of mistakes, and hardly anyone noticed. Sometimes you could hold the audience by throwing in some off-color humor and following it with a good up-tempo country tune or a bawdy ballad. Sometimes they'd be watching the hockey game on TV with the volume turned up so you couldn't sing over it. So you just sat down and waited for the period to end and got a few songs in during the intermission. But that was okay. It was just like a paid rehearsal. The act consisted of one man with a guitar attempting to captivate an audience that wanted to drink and have a good time. He was a little naive, having been raised in a small town of Orillia, Ontario, home of Stephen Leacock. I don't know who that is, but he had a facility for knowing when they were listening and when they weren't. He sang songs he thought would quiet them down or please them. There was never a doubt in his mind that they might even be interested. He had sung before people from the time he was 7 years old. He got his chops on the barroom coffee house circuit. He was not an overnight sensation. He caught on gradually. I got some photographs I want to share with you guys about Gordon here. This is a picture of Gordon with his parents. Again, he was born in Orillia. I think that's the right pronunciation. Ontario. To Jesse Vic Trill Lightfoot and Gordon Lightfoot Sr., who was he owned a dry cleaning service in Orillia. Nicholas Jennings said of Gordon, Nicholas was his biographer, his name is synonymous with timeless songs about trains and shipwrecks, rivers and highways, lovers and loneliness. Robbie Robertson called him a national treasure. And Bob Dylan said that he was one of his favorite songwriters. There's some pictures of him as he was getting older. Here's a picture of him with Bob Dylan. He brought Bob to Mariposa. This is shot somewhere in the 60s. I believe that's Jacob Dylan in between them, by the way. And then he got the stash. That was clearly in probably the late 70s, early 80s. And he had some health issues that almost took him down, but he persevered. This is him probably in his 70s, and a beautiful shot here taken not long ago in his home. Beautiful, beautiful guy. I watched the documentary on him last night, and I had seen it once before. It's on Prime, if you get Prime. It's a fantastic biography, and he was carrying a lot of regrets about his personal life. He had went through 3 marriages, and I think he hurt a lot of people along the way. He had some drinking issues along the way. In the documentary, someone famous was wanting to meet him, and he basically was cursing out the guy that was trying to set that up, saying, "I don't care who she is, I don't want to meet her," which is probably the alcohol speaking, I'm guessing. Leaney says that he played Massey Hall in Toronto over 160 times. That is very true. I think it was over 170 times, in fact. So, yeah, it's just amazing. Let's move on. I haven't done Carefree Highway yet. Let's try that. I'll do this. This is Carefree Highway. It's written about a highway in Arizona by the same name. He wrote it down because he thought it'd be a great name for a song. Picking up the pieces of my sweet and shattered dream, I wonder how the old folks are tonight. Her name was Anne, and I'll be damned if I recall her face. She left me not knowing what to do. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, you've seen better days, morning after blues, from my head down to my shoes. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Turning back the pages to the times I love the best, I wonder if she'll ever do the same. Now the thing that I call living is just feeling satisfied with knowing I got no one left to blame. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, you've seen better days, the morning after blues, from my head down to my shoes. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. searching for the fragments of my dream and shattered sleep. I wonder if the years have closed mine. Well, I guess it must be wanderlust or trying to get free from good old faithful feeling we once knew. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, you've seen better days, the morning after blues, from my head down to my shoes. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Just, one of the things I love about him, and I can't say this on my own music, is his songs follow fairly easy to follow chord changes. And that's probably because his melodies were so good. They just needed a bed to lie under, and a simple bed that didn't distract in any way. And of course, when his arrangements with the other guitar players, Red Shea and Terry Clements, I gotta say, I'm just gonna talk about them over and over again because as much as I love his songwriting, I love the arrangements of these records, and the production of his big hits were phenomenal and somewhat timeless. I think, I'd love to see somebody like Taylor Swift do If You Could Read My Mind. I just, with some contemporary sounding guitars and, have someone of that ilk do it. Because, again, they're timeless enough to be hits over and over again. Somebody turned that song into If You Could Read My Mind, into a disco hit, which is kind of amazing. Getting lots of love in the tip jar, folks. Thank you. Candace and Gail, thank you. More and more as I look at this, of course, and I appreciate you guys keeping this show alive. I've been bringing in both American and Canadian songwriters over the last few years to sit and talk and chat and play my songs, play their songs. But tonight is just dedicated to Mr. Gordon Lightfoot, somebody who impacted anyone who's ever picked up an acoustic guitar to try and write a song, I'm sure. Let's see, what else have I got here for you in my notes? It's Route 74 in Arizona. It's just north of Phoenix. And it went to, this is Carefree Highway, by the way, and it's on the 74 album Sundown. Went to number 1 on Easy Listening, and it went to number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. He kind of owned that period between 70 and 76. He had several songs charting in the top 2 or 3. And of course, he's just so good. Let's see here. Let's do another one. Oh, why don't we actually visit with you guys a bit? I want to get back to this. Barbara Emerson is saying, so glad you chose this tonight. Joan Hacker says, we need a Carefree Highway. Yes, we do, my friends. Yes, we do. I think the mission statement of songwriting is to give us words and melodies to feelings that we can't verbalize ourselves. And he did that for me many, many times, still is doing it. I think I said in the introduction to this that I'm never going to talk about him in the past tense because his music is so present in my life. Just just love him. And if you get a chance, watch the documentary. You get a good sense of, how people change over their lifetimes. And in his last 20 years, he was even ashamed of some of the songs that he wrote that became hits for other people, because they dealt with infidelity in sort of a bravado kind of way. So he even asked his current wife to just shut off the song because he hated it. And time brings different perspectives, and where you are when you wrote it can be different when you're 84 years old. He was born in 1938, folks. He lived a good, long life, and he had a lot of ups and downs, musically, commercially, health-wise, relationship-wise. Susan Atkins is playing, asking, can I play I'll Tag Along? I can't, because I only could choose songs that I was so familiar with that I wouldn't have to memorize anything melodically and phrasing-wise. So I'm concentrating on his hits. I'm sorry for not doing the songs that are equally as great but not as well known, because there are so many, including the trilogy, Canadian Train trilogy, and others that are great. Well, let's talk about Early Morning Rain. Early Morning Rain, it came out in 1966 on the album Lightfoot, and then he re-recorded it for this album, Gord's Gold, which is sort of like a greatest hits record. In the late 50s to the early 60s, he moved from Toronto to Los Angeles to attend music school. And he was only there for 2 years. And this song is about being homesick for Toronto. He used to go to the airport to watch the airplanes take off. Maybe we'll do this. Do this with a pick. In the early morning rain, with $1 in my hand, with an aching in my heart, and my pockets full of sand. I'm a long ways from home, and I miss my loved ones so. In the early morning rain, with no place to go, out on runway number 9, big 707 set to go. But I'm stuck here in the grass, where the cold wind blows. Now the liquor tasted good, and the woman all her fast. Well, there she goes, my friend. She's rolling down a line. Hear the mighty engines roar, see the silver bird on high. She's away and westward bound, far above the clouds she flies, where the morning rain don't fall, and the sun always shines. She'll be flying over my home in about 3 hours' time. This Seoul airport's got me down. It's no earthly good to me, 'cause I'm stuck here on the ground, as cold and drunk as I can be. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I best be on my way in the early morning rain. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I best be on my way in the early morning rain. That song too is just it's a colossal picking party for the guitar players. Gordon picked up a 12-string at some point in his career, and it was sort of a landmark instrument for him. I actually don't own one because I have a high string, which can flavor a song in the same kind of way. But I'm thinking of buying a 12-string and naming it Gordo. So you might see the appearance. All my guitars have nicknames. This is Pete, and Guinness and Lucy, and Maggie is over there. To my Maggie's over there, and you can see up on the wall there is Ricky. So yeah, there's going to be a Gordo in my life. I'm on the lookout. So if any of you have a 12-string that you want to get rid of that's really good, let me know. Nice to have you all here. Jennifer Thomas says, fabulous, beautifully done. Well, thank you. Again, you know, I love that they're so easy to play. That's one reason why his songs became so popular, is because people could share them at gatherings and just sit down and play them without rehearsal, and they sound great. Now, if you try and do that with a James Taylor song that has all those intricate picking parts, and even like occasionally it's hard to play a Paul Simon song because the picking is so incredible. And but yeah, they come by the fingers rather easy, and that probably helped with their popularity because people that weren't great guitar players could play them and have them sound reasonably great without much work. Joni Toole is asking, I'm late. Did he already play Edmund Fitzgerald? No, I haven't, my dear. I'm staring at it right now. I think that's the last of the ones that I have here. Scarlett's saying, yes, you should. Joe is refusing to give up his 12-string. It's a family member. Barbara Emerson says, great to see all the guitarists. Hugs. And Uchenna says, did he play For Lovin' Me? Again, Uchenna, I'm just concentrating on the hits only because I only had a couple hours to prepare the show, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything that was going to involve memorization of melody and phrasing and all that. That's why we're focusing on the big hits. But I totally know there's amazing songs on this that I wasn't aware of to begin with. This is a double album, and it smells musty. I picked it up from some antique shop. All right, let's get on to Edmund Fitzgerald. Again, Edmund Fitzgerald was a businessman who helped to bring the Milwaukee Brewers to Wisconsin. The ship was named after him. Gordon considered it his best song, and there's no surprise there. The lyrics are just absolutely exquisite and brilliant, and who knew that a sea shanty would go to the top of the charts, which essentially it is. It's amazing. He was reading a Newsweek article about the ship, and this is what the Newsweek article said in its first lines. According to the legend of the Chippewa tribe, the lake that they call Gitchigumi never gives up her dead. He read that line and then rewrote it in his own beautiful poetic way. And that's where the song begins. It went to number 1 in Canada. It went to number 2 on the Billboard charts. And this is a song, again, it's got to be close to 7 minutes long. Maybe someone can look up, maybe someone can look up the length of time. This is the album that I have. It's the only LP I have of Gordon. And these are all the players on the record, and these are liner notes, both written by him, or spoken by him, and also by whoever did the liner notes. Let's see, who did the liner notes? Remember when records were like this, where you could pick it up and actually learn something about the people involved? I loved holding that in my hands, Andy Kishitz says, check out the Johnny Cash cover of For Lovin' Me. Dana Gunn here is chiming in too. I grew up in the 70s listening to whatever my older brothers and sisters listened to. Thankfully, they had a really good taste. That's what happened with me as well. My brother's record collection was what informed my sense of music and my love of music, really. Instant Love, yeah, hard not to love him, right? Let's see. Paul is saying, great show tonight. He had already recorded 2 other ship songs, Marie Christine and Yarmouth Castle, on his United Artists Days. So there it is. Karen's saying that the song was 6 minutes and 30 seconds long on the album and 5:57. So maybe, Karen, could you put the lyric in the feed on Facebook and so people can read it? Will we get in trouble for that? Maybe, who knows? All right, let's try this. I'll do it in. I don't want to spoil you guys with the banjo. I'm going to have to stop momentarily and scroll for this. Legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi. Lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and crew was a born to be chewed. That good ship and crew was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and a captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. And later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound as a wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late, and the breakfast had to wait, when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain, in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck, saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed ya. At 7 p.m., a main hatch wave caved in. He said, fellas, it's been good to know ya. The captain wired in, he had water coming in, and the good shipping crew was in peril. And later that night, when the lights got out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up, or they might have capsized, they had even broke deep into the water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives, the sons, and the daughters. The Kieran rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen, and farther below Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November. Remember, in a musty old hall in Detroit they prayed, in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bells chimes till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. 11 lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. Oh, so great. So great. I mean, there's every single verse has one of those spin your head lines, but perhaps my favorite is the wind in the wires made a tattletale sound, and a wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. I mean, and when the cook comes on deck saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you at 7 p.m., a main hatchway caved in, and he said, fellas, it's been good to know you. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. It just does not get better than that. Well, I want to just make sure I'm not missing anything. Just, again, some suggestions for you. Look up that Star on 54 version of If You Could Read My Mind, Love. It's worth a laugh, and no matter how hard they try, they can't ruin the song. It still manages to be beautifully, I don't know, just moving in a weird way, but you're laughing when you're listening to it. And if you can, listen to his music with the speakers thrown to the right, especially on If You Could Read My Mind, Love. Listen to what Red Shea is playing on the guitar. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And driving, he'll jump into double time and then get back into sort of more classical stuff. And as you're listening to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, as you're listening to the song, Edmund Fitzgerald, listen to how the slide and the electric guitar respond and create a visual imagery of waves. And even after he sings a tattletale sign, an electrical guitar will do a riff that imitates the sound that he's speaking about in the lyric. It's just so many beautiful things in that. We're going to miss him. He was certainly one of the finest to ever do this, and thank God his entire archive of beautiful music is there for us to dive deep into, and I plan on taking some deeper dives. I know I was focusing on the hits tonight, but I'm going to be living with this record in the next week. Check out that. Also, check out on Prime, the video channel. Check out the documentary on him. So beautiful. We're just going to let one of my songs play us out here. Why don't we do Cosmos? That seems like a good one for a memorial show here. This is Cosmos. See what I'm doing with the guitars? There's one on the left and there's one on the right because I'm a fan of Gordon Lightfoot and I wanted to record songs like that. You probably can't hear it that way, but if you have the album.
I'm one of the flock riding this rock across the cosmos.
I'm out of focus, I don't know why.
And before I'm a ghost, I'll thank the host and tell what a wide ride.
If you'd like the new album,
I've touched the sun and the sea.
join Patreon.
I followed the truth.
We'll send you a CD in the mail.
I've seen the divine. You are divine. I've seen the divine in you. And I had a child, perfect and wild. Isn't she lovely? And more friends than most. I don't mean to boast. All the love surrounds me. I've touched the sun and the sea. I follow the truth in me. And I found the love. I've held the love. I've seen the love in me.
Thank you, Jeff, for the love and the tip jar, and
And I
Jean French, thank you as well.
They turn to sand. I've tasted sweet wine. I sang all the songs. I played along till the last words were sung by me. I've touched the sun and the sea. I followed the truth in me. I've seen the divine. And I sang the songs. I felt your love in me.
Sending love to you all. I'm not going to do a show on Sunday because I have a show on Sunday night, but We will be here next week. I don't know who our special guests will be or what the flavor of the show will be, but please join me. We're here most Wednesdays, almost every Wednesday of the year, introducing you to my music, if you haven't heard it, my archive of songs, my friends' music, songwriters I don't know who I'm inviting in, who I love, and occasionally honoring some people like Gordon Lightfoot, Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie, folks that I care about. Sending love to you all. Cheers. We'll see you guys down the road. Thank you.